Okay, so ready to dive in.
Always.
Awesome. Today we're looking at personal finance.
Yeah.
Right? Big topic, obviously. And we're going to be focusing more specifically on, I think, three areas that you sort of picked out.
Yeah.
Which are passive income, always a hot topic.
Always.
Crypto, because everybody wants to know,
Right.
is it still worth it, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then also, some good old-fashioned saving tips.
Love it.
So we got three sources. And the first one, dealing with passive income, the title is 5 Passive Income Ideas You Can Start Today with Low Investment.
Okay.
Now, of course, everybody loves the idea of passive income.
Sure.
Right. It's like, oh, make money while you sleep. That's the dream.
That is the dream. Everyone wants to sort of earn without, actively working, right?
Right.
So passive income is definitely very appealing, but, there's always a but, right?
Yeah.
So the low investment part, that often translates to a high investment of time or effort. Like one of the ideas this article dives into is starting a blog for passive income.
Okay.
Which, that sounds easy enough on the surface, just write and the money will come. But the reality is, it takes a lot of work, a lot of time, years of writing, promoting. You have to build an audience before you see any significant return.
Yeah.
So that low investment can be a little deceptive sometimes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get caught up in that, right?
Yes, definitely.
They see the dollar signs and they don't think about the fact that it might take them 2 years to get there.
Exactly.
And 2 years of working for free, essentially.
Right. And, while you're building that blog, you still have to pay the bills.
Right,
So
exactly.
you still have to live.
So it's a balancing act.
It is.
For sure. Okay, well, let's move on to our next topic, which is crypto. You sent over an article called Crypto in 2024. Is it still worth the hype?
Yeah.
And I got to say, this is something I'm still personally trying to figure out.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah. What were your takeaways from this article?
Well, one thing that really stood out to me was they talk about stable coins. Have you heard much about stable coins?
I have. I've been sort of casually following it.
Okay. So stable coins are basically cryptocurrencies,
Mm-hmm.
but they're pegged to a more, how do I say, stable asset,
Right.
like the US dollar
Right.
or gold. So in theory, at least, they're not supposed to fluctuate as wildly as, Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies.
Right.
And the article was arguing that this could be a game changer, really, because it could make crypto transactions more practical for everyday use.
Yeah, that's a big barrier, right?
Huge. I mean, imagine trying to buy a cup of coffee if the price of Bitcoin is going up and down every few minutes.
Right. It just doesn't, it doesn't make sense.
It's not feasible.
Okay, so stable coins, that was an interesting takeaway. What else?
Well, on the flip side, the article also stressed that regulation is still a major question mark. How governments choose to approach crypto. I mean, that could make or break it in 2024. We just don't know.
Yeah, that's always the scary thing.
Right. It's like the Wild West out there.
It's like you never know what's going to happen. All right, so let's move on to this article on saving money, which, compared to crypto, feels a little bit more down to earth.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one is called How to Save Money Fast. Tips for Building Wealth in 2024. And there's a ton of stuff in here.
There it is.
But I want to pick out one thing that I thought was interesting. Have you ever tried automating your savings?
Oh, all about it. Love it.
Yeah.
In fact, I automate everything.
Okay.
Not just savings, but bills, investments, you name it. If I can automate it, I do.
So you're like a set it and forget it kind of person.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
takes the mental load off, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to remember. It just happens. And it really helps me stay consistent.
Okay.
It plays into that pay yourself first principle,
Right.
which is, it's cornerstone of building wealth.
I actually tried that for a little while. I set up an automatic transfer
Yeah.
from my checking to my savings,
Uh-huh.
and I was amazed at how quickly it added up.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It is, because you don't even notice it.
Right.
It's just, oh, it's gone. And then suddenly you look and you're like, oh, there's a little nest egg starting.
Exactly. That's the magic of consistency and compounding, right? Even small amounts saved regularly can grow significantly over time.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this, we've looked at passive income, we've looked at crypto, we've looked at saving. What do you think is the biggest takeaway? Like, if someone's listening to this and they're like, okay, I want to, take control of my finances in 2024. What would you tell them?
I would say the the key takeaway here is that there's no one-size-fits-all solution, right? Everyone's situation is different. But I think, we've touched on some really important principles. Diversifying your income, being smart with your savings, carefully evaluating risk, and, especially with things like crypto.
Is that so volatile?
Exactly. Do your research. Understand what you're getting into. Don't just jump in because everyone else is.
Right. And it's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Absolutely. And, beyond the specific strategies, I think it's so important to think about your personal relationship with money. What are your financial goals? What makes you feel financially secure? Answering those questions, I think, can be more valuable than any single tip or trick.
Right.
It's about mindset. It's about, figuring out what works for you, what aligns with your values.
That's great. So I think that's a great place to end. Figure out what your relationship with money is, and then you can go from there and figure out what you want to do with it. Awesome. All right. Well, this was a great deep dive.
It was fun.
Always is. All right. See you next time.